I've been having little seizures for years and didn't even know it. And I always thought that it was a panic attack or a trauma response. I thought that seizures had to be where you're like tweaking out, completely going unconscious. I didn't know that focal seizures existed until I had a seizure where I did have like jerky movements and lost consciousness and stuff. I went into the doctor and found out that actually I've been having seizures due to my CCI. The intense, overwhelming sense of like dread and deja vu that was happening was actually a seizure. For me, I experienced focal and absent seizures. The best way that I can describe it is I kind of get like hazy, similar to a migraine, but different. And I get a sense of like deja vu, but not good. Like it does not feel pleasant. Kind of starts to transition into like this overwhelming sense of dread, like the world is ending. I'm nauseous. I don't know how to describe it other than it feels like the world is completely ending. Then it transitions into kind of like I'm realizing that I'm hyper focused on my lack of focus, but I also cannot move in this state. So it feels like someone is like squeezing all of my body. Obviously, I'm not observing myself when this happens. I think to an outsider perspective, it probably just looks like I'm zoning out. And I would say that this can last from like 15 seconds to like a minute. Then after it happens though, it's just kind of like nothing really happened. Sometimes that is accompanied by eye twitching, by nystagmus. Sometimes my like cheeks will like kind of spasm out. If I'm laying down, sometimes my eyes like roll back into my head. Also, if you've heard of the Alice in Wonderland effect, that also sometimes accompanies this, especially if I'm laying down. I had a couple of different episodes where it's like everything's getting bigger and smaller and it's like a kaleidoscope almost. But again, that can also just be like due to brainstem compression. So I also have more autonomic seizures. So typically for me, this looks like a blood pressure drop, a heart rate drop, or a spike, and I'll get really, really hot and sweaty, and then it's like an adrenaline dump. Like it feels similar to a POTS adrenaline jump. With that being said, I am so excited to get my neck fixed and see how it affects me. I'm kind of like, how could it not? Like if I fix my spine, I'm literally gonna fix probably so much more than I can even imagine, just because the spine is like the center of your nervous system, the center of your health. And honestly, this is the reality of living with chronic conditions, especially like a connective tissue disease like Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or POTS, or MCAS, or chronic fatigue syndrome, all of which I have. I was constantly brushed off. I was told it was anxiety. And this, unfortunately, is what happens to so many of us with chronic illnesses. I'm sharing my story to raise awareness because this system just needs to change. If you've ever been dismissed, misdiagnosed, or felt invisible, please know that you're not alone here.